Chapter 6. Determination. We get some establishing shots of the parking lot. Shin's voice rings out clearly as he is freaking out, saying this is some kind of mistake. The thug hunter couldn't be you. Yoshido speaks up, saying there's no use denying it, since one of his victims is right here. The thugs are getting annoyed at Shin, but he still protests, pointing out how much Yu is shivering. Yu himself feels like he's gone numb, yet despite that, notices he's shivering still. He can't stop shivering. He can't even feel his legs. He feels responsible, especially after Shin and him are starting to have fun. He then realizes he has to do something even if he only manages to save Shin. Yu starts to speak, startling the thugs. He says Shin has nothing to do with this, then he yells that he's the one they want. This gets a reaction from the thugs and Shin. Yu tells Shin to go, since he has nothing to do with this. Shin is still in disbelief, though he seems to be slowly seeing that he is the thug hunter. Yoshido says to fight one-on-one with Iwado, but also informs him that he won't hold back the guys who he beat up. Yu tells Shin to go. Shin is still in disbelief, saying no way. No way to going, or no way to what is happening. Meanwhile, Masaki's phone rings. One of the girls asks if it's his girlfriend, to which he replies without hesitation that he doesn't have one. It's Yosuke, one of Masaki's friends. He informs him that the set of thugs have the thug hunter cornered in the parking lot. He tells him the situation, prompting Masaki and his friends to ditch the girls they were with, much to their dismay. They hurry past a guy trying to get Masaki's attention. He's brought a tall, heavy hitter with him. They are clearly looking for a fight. They insist on blocking Masaki and his gang, despite them telling them they are in a hurry. Masaki decides to fight him quickly. Just as the big guy says to come at him, Masaki quickly uses a palm strike to the side of his head. He falls instantly. Everyone is surprised, including Masaki's friends. Masaki asks if he can go now, to which the other thug simply says, sure. His friends go on about how amazing that was as they are running. Masaki explains that it wasn't as easy as it looked. That guy was built and could have been trouble. The key to winning was in that one hit. It wouldn't be too much to say that the first hit is everything in a street fight. This is because once you are at a disadvantage, it's almost impossible to make a comeback. Rules in sports are the reason that ties, exchanges happen, but this is less the case in a street fight. If you're willing to throw away your pride and shame, you can carry weapons around on the street. One of Masaki's friends says that slap Masaki did was something else. Masaki responds correctly in saying it wasn't a slap. He used the bottom of his palm. It's more convenient to cause concussions with this method. Strikes that use the bottom of the palm are different from typical slaps. With this method, the wrist stays straight and doesn't let any of the power slip out. This makes sure that all your force slams straight into the target. If you penetrate with a strike like that, you can even break people's jaws. Masaki says that his hand could have slipped down a bit and done that. This surprises his friends. Masaki then realizes why the thug hunter always needs to throw out a strong first strike, though all the stories he's heard only talk about him using 1-2 punches. Masaki ponders this, asking why. We shift back to the fight. Yu thinks to himself that it'll be the same no matter where he runs, so he doesn't mind if it happens here. He raises his fists and arms into a guard. He thinks to himself that he's going to keep resisting until the end. It could be viewed that not much happens in this chapter, other than seeing Masaki and his friends finding out about the fight and hurrying over to it. But Holyland is a manga series that is firmly focused on the characters, and there is plenty of nuance and small details informing us of what they are feeling and experiencing. That is what this chapter is about, especially at the start and end. We get a very clear idea of how Yu is feeling. It feels very real and visceral. I felt like I could relate and understand what Yu was feeling. I like the touch about Masaki quickly, without hesitation, saying he doesn't have a girlfriend, further communicating his confidence and honesty. There are many guys out there who would lie, hide it, or cover it up, due to seeing that as showing weakness or lack of status. They are hanging with some girls, so it's not like he couldn't get one. He is simply less interested in that right now. This is shown by their ditching the girls. The lesson about palm strikes is well done, too, switching between Masaki's explanation and the narrator's explanation. The diagrams or pictures are interesting, helping to illustrate the lesson as if coming out of a self-defense theory or science manual. I like that the author switched up the order of the explanation. It starts with the event or example, and is explained afterward, as the group is running. This way of explaining things is done quite a bit in later chapters. This makes sense, since when you are there to witness the event, you first watch it, and then discuss it after, as is normal. This transitions and flows naturally into Masaki's realization about the thug hunter's strategy, to you lifting his hands to fight, showing his determination to resist. The palm strike and the explanation is our first clue that Masaki is not just a boxer. Chapter 7. Real Value. Yu Kamshiro's teeth are chattering. His hands won't stop shaking, and his knees don't feel like they are his own. And yet, he raises his fists. This gets quite the reaction from everyone else. The thugs start laughing at him due to how scared he looks, despite showing some bravado. Shin is also taken aback, though he doesn't laugh, saying, "Give me a break." Yu wonders why they're laughing so much, though he's aware it could be because he's shaking. He believes he needs to do something, at least until Shin can run away. Masaki and his gang arrive at the scene. In asking what's going on, Yosuke says, "See for yourself." Masaki recognizes Yu as the guy from before in the first chapter. He's surprised, but he notices the strange vibe, too, of the crowd. Iwata himself says he doesn't feel right about beating him up. Yoshido confirms that it seems like he really is the guy, and just to make him bleed a little. Iwata launches forward, saying to give it up, causing Yu to panic and get back. Iwata then tells him there's nowhere to run. He assures him he won't kill him, telling him to hurry up and fight him. He gets into a fighting stance, uttering a spirit yell. Yu stumbles back as a result. The crowd goes wild in response. Masaki and his friends are dumbstruck that this is the thug hunter they've been hearing about. As Masaki says, he's a total amateur, not knowing even basic footwork. One of the thugs kicks Yu and tells him to stop running around like a pussy, or scaredy cat. Yu looks like a joke to Masaki and everyone else. Masaki then looks over at the thugs who are beaten up by him, and notices that they aren't laughing. He realizes that there may be something they have yet to see. Sure enough, Yu realizes it's not going to end unless he does something. He launches forward and performs his 1-2 punch straight into Iwata's face, knocking him back and on his butt. This surprises everyone. Everyone is stunned, including Shin and Masaki. This chapter is incredibly well paced. This first half is all about the culmination up to this point, of everyone seeing and reacting to the who of Yu's personality, and how he looks. It's not like Yu spread those rumors. His actions simply had a ripple effect through the other people's perspectives of how they saw it, and much like the game Telephone, the truth was obscured by how others perceived his actions. Mishearing, misunderstandings, and exaggerations were part of the package, leading to making him out to be something of a myth or legend. When everyone is face to face with him, though, they are unimpressed at first. But as with many rumors, there was a grain of truth in it. The thug's perspective, the boys at school's perspective, and Masaki and his perspectives all saw it differently. There's something else I like about this situation, summed up by the phrase, "There is more to things and people than meets the eye." Everyone is so sure that they know things just by looking at them. that they find themselves constantly surprised. Out of all of them, though, Masaki is the most perceptive one there, as he realizes this before anyone else, except the two thugs who witnessed his power firsthand. I like how we see him discover this. It's not like he was wrong about you being an amateur either. He notes Yu's lack of footwork. Shin is good at reading people's expressions, which is why he is so adamant about you not being the thug hunter. But there are things you cannot know or see just by looking at a person. People are more than how they seem, though what we see are clues to who they are. Iwado seems to be a good guy at heart here. He's not a thug, but he is or can be dangerous when he chooses to be. Yu himself is out of his element. For who he is actually holding his ground, though it is for Shin's sake in his mind. This shows that Yu is a kind and caring person at heart. He realized that he couldn't just do nothing, and decided to act, doing the only thing he knew how to do well, his 1-2 punch, which ended up turning the tide of the battle, as well as people's perceptions about him. Learning to stand strong despite how scared he was, and then choosing to act. This is what courage is, and how confidence is built. I love how the previous 6 chapters all lead up to this, and then the first half is all disappointment, up until the middle, where a single action done well impacts and surprises everyone. I am a sucker for underdog stories after all. Yu's glimmer of his real value is shown here, in front of everyone, like a diamond in the rough. Shin, still in disbelief, says, "Did I really just see that?" Then yells Yu's name. Yoshido is angry with Iwado. Masaki's friends ask what that was. Wasn't he an amateur? Masaki says that he doesn't think he was trying to hustle them, but that 1-2 punch was the real thing. Yu's footwork and balance are shit or bad, but no amateur can throw a punch like that. Masaki doesn't know what that means himself, but he'll find out as they continue to watch. He predicts that Yu will probably lose in a bit. That punch isn't enough to finish off Iwado. This is where the real battle begins. He notes that 1-2 punch usually drops guys, but Iwado turned his face away during the second punch, so it was shallow. This isn't to even mention that Iwado has a tough body. The thug hunter should have punched more when he was down. Iwado spits out blood and some teeth. Yu wants to stop. The narrator-author comes on and explains that the reason Iwado is bleeding so much is there are tons of blood vessels that run through the gums and within the mouth. Even if only 1 or 2 teeth are broken, enough blood to fill a seat cushion can easily spill out onto the street. Violence isn't always gratifying, as both the attacker and the attacked have much at risk. Yu says they should stop this. He'll apologize or do whatever they say. This gets an angry reaction from the thugs. He admits Yu surprised him, but now he has to show him what he's made of. He's going to fight him seriously now. Iwado comes at Yu. Yu punches at him, but Iwado swats his arms away. This is the first time this has happened to Yu, so he's taken back by it. What's the thug hunter Yu going to do now? Masaki correctly discerns what is going on for the most part, though he fully expects him to lose. Just as we are, though, he is intrigued and interested in what will happen next, since this is the first time that Yu hasn't been able to finish his opponent with a 1-2 punch. I like how it shows Iwado as not just a grunt that is there to make the main character look good. He shows how fast, skilled, and durable he is. Iwado has his pride, but he is also honest. During the explanation, the author-artist explains how there is logical reason behind his choices. I think he realizes that he can't have Masaki explain everything, as he doesn't see and know everything. I like that Masaki has a more realistic and human perspective, while also being knowledgeable and perceptive. He second-guesses himself and is surprised, like everyone else. The explanation from the author is a good, small science lesson that is relevant to the story. Chapter 8. Fear. We open up the chapter with Iwado swatting Yu's punches away. Yu realizes at this point that Iwado is practicing something. This is a real fighter. What he knows isn't going to work on him. Masaki's friends comment on judo being fast. Doesn't look like judo to them. Masaki says that judo is fast. A brief explanation comes on talking about how many people think judo is slow due to its public image. In reality, judo practitioners' hands are no less fast than other schools. Yu continues punching at Iwado while Iwado continues to swat them away. Iwado goes forward and strikes out with a hook. Yoshido is relieved, though he is scared for a minute. In his mind, if Iwado would have lost, he would have been humiliated since he brought him here. The thug hunter is simply not what the rumors made him out to be, which is true. Yu punches at Iwado while moving back. He hits him, but Iwado keeps moving forward and attempts to grab Yu. He moves back to avoid it. Masaki's friends talk about Iwado not caring about getting hit. Masaki, however, says that punching while stepping back is practically useless. Using jabs to create a gap is useless on the streets. If your opponent's prepared to take a punch, then a little jab like that isn't going to stop him. People like that become numb to pain. Unless you connect a powerful punch, you won't be able to stop them. One of Masaki's friends despairs, saying he's going to lose. Masaki thinks to himself that it's not like he's completely out of chances. It appears to Masaki that it's beyond Yu's ability to notice, since Yu is panicking. If your heart is broken, you can't move forward, and you have to move forward in order to win. If he keeps running, sooner or later he'll be caught. This happens exactly as these words appear on screen. Yu is grabbed, then thrown onto the ground. We see a panel showing Yu's perspective, looking up at the moon. Yu, in this moment, remembers everything he had experienced up to that point. His everyday life, of pain in his heart and body. Iwado says he overdid it again. Yoshido says he thought he killed him and asks how he is. Iwado says his ribs aren't broken. He was lucky since he had that backpack. Yoshido says he thinks they've done enough today. Kenji yells, saying they can't let him get off free like this. The other thug agrees with him, but everyone is startled as they see Yu getting back to his feet. Pain isn't what he's afraid of. Yoshido says he should have just stayed down, and calls to Kenji and the other thugs, who clearly want a piece of him. Iwado cuts him off, saying he'll handle him. He needs to pay him back for breaking his teeth. Yoshido tries to tell Iwado to go easy on him, but Iwado tells him to shut up. Yoshido knows this is going to be bad, so he sends someone out onto the road to notify him if the police come. Masaki notes that this changes nothing. This isn't going to change their difference in ability. Did he notice something? No, that can't be it. Masaki is perplexed by the reason that Yu stood back up. Iwado is serious now. Yu is in real danger. Shin calls to Yu to stop this. Yu tells Shin to run. However, two thugs grab hold of him, saying that Shin's going to watch till the end. As Iwado and Masaki face off, Yu is thinking that what he's really afraid of is not having anywhere to go. He's afraid of losing his place in this world. Masaki sees that Yu isn't trembling anymore. We get an overhead view, showing the fight from far away. Street lamps are shining down, illuminating the area where they are fighting, as if it is a holy place, or perhaps a holy land. This chapter is well named because it revolves around fear. Yu succumbs to fear due to being in a situation in which he doesn't know what to do. It's a familiar situation to anyone that has sparred or fought. He panics, and as a result can't see clearly what he should or shouldn't do. As a result, he is caught and thrown. When he is thrown, however, and feels pain, something interesting happens. Kamoshida's words are foreshadowed in the first and second chapter. These words are very important for understanding Yu's motivations, as well as the point of this entire story. It ties into the title of this manga. It is at this point in the fight where Kamashiro's primary motivation is crystal clear in his mind, hence the lack of trembling. It is as if everything else during the fight was peeling off his layers to reveal who he really was. The camera angles work well here when paired with these words, really emphasizing how important they are.